Hello, chefs. This is Chef's PSA Podcast. I'm your host, André Natera. On today's episode, we're going to talk about missed opportunities. Stay tuned. So before we get started, I'm going to give you a brief update on several things. So bear with me. Number one, if you want to support the show, you know what to do. Go to chefspsa.com. You get books, merch, other things like that. You get this one. This one just came out. This hoodie, this hat says Just Cook. The books that I've written, including Kitchen Art of War, Culinary Leadership Fundamentals, Line Cook Survival Manual, How Not to Be the Biggest Idiot in the Kitchen, and Bad Sous, Good Chef. Speaking of Bad Sous, Good Chef, I am currently writing the sequel to that book, and it is all but done. I just have to finish the last chapter. And I have to tell you, I'm very happy with the book so far. I've sent it to a couple of chef friends. One of them said it gave him anxiety. Another one said, that's me. That was me coming up in the kitchen. I've enjoyed writing it. I'm having a little bit of trouble with the last chapter because I'm not sure how to close this book, because so far I've really enjoyed writing it. That'll be out very soon. I think I could wrap it up next week. So within a week or so, the book will be out. Go look for it. Bad Cooks Everywhere. It's the journey of a new cook going through multiple kitchens. The other thing, if you listened to last week's episode, it was our first guest-centered Chef's PSA podcast with a guest, pastry chef Casey Duty. Really good episode. It's a lot longer than the current ones that I do that are anywhere from 15 to 25 minutes. These are going to be about an hour long, the ones that are guest-centered. I have a lot of guests lined up for the next few episodes. At least the next 10 guests are lined up. But I will say this, they are a little bit more lengthy to edit. So I'm hoping I could get one out every other episode. But the truth of the matter is, there may be weeks that I have to go 2 weeks before I could put out the guest-centered episode, just because of the amount of time it takes to edit those videos. Last thing I want to update you all on is if you are in Austin, Texas, and you want to support a good cause, a group of chefs, all from El Paso, Texas, are cooking at Bacalar Restaurant, Gabe Morales Restaurant, Top Chef 18 winner, including myself. We're going to be coming together to form like Voltron and cook for El Paso Family Meal. It's an organization that I'm a part of. So if you want to come out and see me and you want to try some good food and support a good cause, May 29th, El Paso Family Meal. Come check us out, eat some good food, meet some cool chefs. Anyway, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple or Amazon or anywhere else, make sure you leave 5 stars. Nothing less than 5 stars. It's a 5-star podcast. By the way, if you have any of my books on Amazon, leave 5 stars too. Nothing less than 5 stars on Amazon. If it's going to be less than 5 stars, don't leave it. Anyway, today's podcast, missed opportunities, taking advantage of opportunities. As chefs and as cooks, we're presented with opportunities all the time for new jobs, to attend events, to hire people, to do something really special in our career. And as cliche as it sounds, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I don't know if Gretzky said that or Michael Jordan said that, but that's definitely a sports quote. And I'm going to share a story with you. There was a hotel in Vancouver. It was the Fairmont Hotel, Hotel Van as it's known in Vancouver, Canada. And they were without a chef. And this had to have been around 2010 or 2011. And they sent me up to be the interim executive chef at this hotel in Vancouver. And I got to tell you, I fell in love with that hotel. It was old. It was historic. The kitchens were massive. It had a basement where they had the garde-manger kitchen, old school garde-manger kitchen, old school pastry kitchen downstairs. Upstairs, you had multiple kitchens, including a restaurant kitchen, a banqueting kitchen. And here I was sent up to be the interim chef while they were looking for a chef. When I went up there really wanting the job. And I went up there with the idea of if I prove myself that I'm the man for the job, they will offer me the job. So after some time being there, it was time to go home. They hired a chef, they were bringing him down, and I was going to go back home. So the general manager of that hotel takes us out to dinner. And he's sitting across from me and he says, I have to ask you one question. Why didn't you apply for the job? We would have loved to have had you as our executive chef. And my heart sank. Because in my mind, I was thinking, I demonstrated that I was the person for the job. And I said that to them. I said, I wanted the job. I thought you all would offer it to me. And he said to me, we didn't offer it to you because you didn't apply. We thought you didn't want it. So the fact that I sat there quietly, trying to demonstrate that I was the person for the job, prevented me from getting the job because I never spoke up and said I wanted it. To this day, that one haunts me a little bit because I think Vancouver is such a cool city. And at that time, I really wanted to be the chef of that hotel. I thought it was a beautiful hotel, old, historic, smack dab downtown Vancouver. If you know that hotel, you know what I'm talking about. It would have been a fun job at the time. They were going to renovate the restaurant, and I missed it because I never spoke up and said I wanted it. Sometimes you're presented with opportunities. And I can tell you as a hiring chef, sometimes you're looking for the next sous chef or the next exec sous or whatever the case may be, someone that you're going to promote. And a lot of times that person is in your kitchen and you may be that person, but sometimes you don't promote those people because they've never expressed interest in getting promoted. You just think they're content as to where they are at. And maybe in their own mind, they think they're not ready. And so you don't approach them because you think they're not ready and they're not expressing interest. So you're going to pass it on to someone else from outside the organization, and you bring in an outsider who maybe was a bad fit, and you turn over 2 or 3 sous chefs when the right person was in your kitchen the whole time. But they never expressed interest because they were hoping that you would tap them on the shoulder and say, you're it. I can tell you, as an executive chef, you got a lot on your plate. You're thinking about a lot of things, and you don't know what's in everyone's mind. And you have to assume that the people that want to move up are letting it be known to everyone that they want to move up. If you're in this position and you want to move into sous chef, one of the best things that you could do is tell people that you are interested in moving up. Because if you're keeping that to yourself and hoping and wishing that you're going to get discovered, it doesn't work that way. You have to create your own luck. You have to seize opportunity when it presents itself. Those people in garage bands that are playing in their garage, hoping that an A&R is going to drive by, someone from a record label, and they're going to say, oh my God, do you hear that music coming from that garage? Let's go sign them. It doesn't work that way. I had a guy that was extremely talented used to work with me. He was one of the best cooks in the kitchen, super switched on with food. And the only thing he wanted to do was work under Gordon Ramsay. And this was, I don't know, about 2007. And he would talk about Gordon Ramsay. He would watch all those shows. He wanted nothing more than to work under Gordon Ramsay. And he was a very good chef. I would always tell him, why don't you just go try out? Why don't you just go apply for his restaurants in Vegas or wherever he had restaurants at the time and just try to go work in one of his kitchens? He always say, oh no, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. Anyway, that guy, that super talented cook, is still a super talented cook. Never moved up because he always had this idea in his mind that he wasn't good enough for the next position. I look back at that time because I knew he was. I knew that he was one of the best cooks in the kitchen and that he had it, but what he lacked was confidence. And he didn't take advantage of opportunities, and he was unwilling to change his circumstances. People underestimate how many of their problems that they're facing right now can be solved by taking action to solve them. Unfortunately, we sometimes live in this idea of complaining about our problems or doing nothing about our problems and just sitting back that they will fix themselves. Problems usually don't get fixed on their own. One of the most important things that you need to do as a chef, as a cook, as a culinarian, is to create action towards the desired result that you want. Sitting around waiting that you're going to get discovered, that a celebrity chef is going to walk into the kitchen and tap you on the shoulder and say, come work for me, is very unlikely that that's going to happen. As that old expression goes, the harder I work, the luckier I get. Those limiting beliefs are usually self-imposed. And what I've noticed in my career, the biggest difference between the people that move up quick in their career as a chef or whatever the case may be, is usually the ones that are confident enough. It's almost dumb confidence sometimes because they're not good yet, but they think they are, and they're willing to try, and they're willing to go apply at the place that they want to go work. A lot of people want to be great chefs, but they're afraid to go work in great kitchens because they don't want to be second best. If you want to be the next Rene Redzepi, you can't be afraid to work in Noma. You have to be willing to take the risk. Early on in my career, I was fortunate that I had mentors that saw good things in me, tapped me on the shoulder, and moved me up. But a lot of people aren't fortunate like that. A lot of people are too afraid to ask for help or too afraid to apply for the job that they want. I know a lot of chefs. I could think of someone right now that is trying to get a job, but they haven't even applied for it. There's someone out there listening to this podcast right now that is upset that they're not getting promoted, but they're also not applying for the job. Life doesn't work that way. If the door is going to be opened, you have to make the effort to walk through it. As my career was growing as a chef, and I was going from one chef job to the next chef job, there was a point where I hit a little bit of a wall and I didn't feel like I was growing fast enough in my career. And so I had applied at this job in Washington, D.C. And I'll never forget this interview because at this point in time in my career, I thought of myself as very humble. And I wanted to be very respectful of all the chefs in the community. And as I was interviewing at this job, they asked me, "Do you think you're the best?" It's an interesting question because in my mind, did I think I was the best? Maybe. Sometimes I did. Other times I didn't. I thought in my mind I have the potential to be the best. But if I had to sit there and honestly say, am I the best? No, of course not. There's always someone better than you. That's the reality of the situation. When they asked me this question, if I thought I was the best, I said, no, I don't think I'm the best. I think I have a lot to learn. I think I'm still growing in my career. And I gave this humble answer because I didn't want to come across as cocky or arrogant. Afterwards, the person that was interviewing me came up to me and said, why didn't you say you're the best? We only hire the best. And if you're not the best, we don't want to hire you. And I responded back saying, I really respect your organization and the chefs that have come through here. There's a lot of really great chefs in this city. And I feel like it would be insulting for me to sit here and say I'm the best, knowing that there's some amazing chefs out there in the world that I admire. Their response to me was, we respect your humility, but we only hire the best. It was an opportunity that was right there for my taking, but my humility almost prevented me from getting the job. And when I think about that moment, and I think about so many moments where people go in with this humility or this modesty, when it comes to your career, you're in the driver's seat, you're player one. No one's coming to save you. You have to be the one making the tough decisions, taking action, going out and applying for the job that you want, recognizing the opportunities. When they open the doors, say yes. One of my mentors says to me, you always say yes, but you say yes, but. It gives you an out. So yes, but we need to do this. So you could say yes, but say yes to these opportunities when they get presented to you. Doors are going to open and you have no idea where that door is going to lead to. Don't let your fear of rejection prevent you from succeeding. Don't sit there and wait for someone to come discover you. Go out there and make your presence known. And you can use this podcast as an example. I had a previous podcast called Run the Pass, and I wanted to start this podcast, Chef's PSA. I didn't know anything about podcasting, and I could have sat there and waited for all the right circumstances for me to get good at editing and get all the equipment that I needed, and for the situation to be just perfect before I started the podcast. But in my mind, I'm like, screw it. Let's just go in. We'll figure it out as we go. If you go watch some of my early podcasts, the editing's really bad. The audio's not so great. Maybe there wasn't even porno music back then. But it was the idea that I needed to take action because I know taking no action would never get me to where I am now. The only way you're going to learn how to do something is by doing it. Action leads to result. Now, I'll leave you all with one last thing. One of the things that I used to tell myself whenever I was afraid to do something, and this has never steered me wrong, is if I was afraid to do something, for whatever reason, I would always tell myself on the other side of fear is greatness. And that would push me to do it. I didn't need motivation. I often get the question of like, how do you get motivation? It's like, I'm not motivated to do some of this stuff. I do it because I know that simply by doing is going to get me closer to my goals. On the other side of fear is greatness. That's my internal monologue. Maybe you could adopt that to your internal monologue as well. Don't be afraid, create opportunities, and I promise you, on the other side of fear is greatness. Anyway, you know what to do. If you're listening on Spotify, make sure you leave 5 stars. Nothing less than 5 stars. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the like and subscribe button. Go to chefspsa.com where you get all the books, all the merch. Subscribe to my Substack. On the Substack, I have exclusive podcasts just for Substack paid members, as well as discounts on the merch. You get 15% off if you're a Substack paid subscriber, in addition to getting all my ebooks for free. And when I release Bad Cooks Everywhere, the ebook version will be for free for all my Substack subscribers. So for $10 a month, you get Chef Brains. Skip the Red Bull and the caramel macchiato for the week and go subscribe. Anyway, thank you all very much. See you next week. Hit the porno music.
No, it's André in the kitchen, mixing, dropping chef knowledge, no fiction, stirring up the beats, heating up the session. Listen close, class is in session.